everything is set for the next video. Paper bag, what's the status on the script?
Just got it in from the writer's room. This thing weighs more than the weight of my sins.
Great! I think I'm gonna ignore that last part.
Hey, where's the boss? Shouldn't he be doing all this? I really don't like taking orders from women.
Don't know. He was supposed to show up for filming like an hour ago, but I haven't seen him all day.
Everyone stop everything! Paper bag, shred that script!
Already on it, boss! Yeah.
What the heck, man? We've been working on this script for 2 months.
Change of plans, we're pushing that video back, there's been a development.
What does that even mean?
There's a new movie out. The internet is calling it the new worst thing ever. We gotta move fast and jump on the trend before it loses relevance.
Wait, worst like the worst?
Yep, it's been out less than a few weeks and it's already got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's mythical levels of bad.
That's baby geniuses levels of bad.
Exactly. We're on the bleeding edge of garbage here. Opportunities like this come once in a lifetime.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued. What movie is it?
I'm glad you asked.
So, are you gonna say it, or...?
That's right, I'm back. Did you miss me? Don't lie, you missed me. War of the Worlds is a 2025 American science fiction action thriller film based on the 1898 novel of the same name by H.G. Wells. The screenplay comes courtesy of one Kenny Gold, best known for 2003's The Job and 2008's Uncross the Stars, both of which I think are movies, and Mark Hyman, who's mostly done work as a script doctor, polishing and rewriting scripts for films like Oh No. Production actually began all the way back in 2020, being produced by Timur, last name I won't try to pronounce, a pioneer of the screen life genre, a style of visual storytelling wherein events take place solely through the screen of a computer, tablet, or phone. Think films like Unfriended, which Timur also coincidentally produced. He also produced Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but that's not really relevant, I just think it's cool. Now this film has been making the rounds in online circles because of one particular reason. It's bad. Like really, really bad. This film has been called the new worst movie ever, debuting with a 0% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, according to my research, it has gone up by like 4% in the past week, but like, no one cares. Now, this doesn't make the film unique. There are plenty of films that have managed to earn this coveted score, but it does firmly place it alongside such cinematic masterpieces as Ballistic X vs. Sever, One Missed Call, and Highlander 2: The Quickening. Now, for those of you not versed in the ways of bad movie lore, let me put it this way, God help us.
We are screwed.
Now, I will say, while I am going into this blind, I am a little biased, because I have been hearing what other people have said, and already know this film's reputation. Plus, I had to push back another video I was actively working on just to get a chance to jump on the bandwagon while this thing is still relevant. So I'm already a little mad, but that's never stopped me before. I consider myself to be a gonzo film critic. I'm not going into this looking for good or with an unbiased perspective. I fully anticipate this to be utter garbage, and you do too. That's why you clicked on this video. And don't worry, this is a safe space. We can be honest with each other here. Most of the time. So let's not waste any more of your time or mine. Let's take a look at War of the Worlds 2025. Roll film. Okay, we are rolling. I don't know if excited is the right word necessarily to use for this, but excited is the words I'm going to use. You may notice the live reaction screen looks a little bit different. I decided to redo the whole thing because screw consistency. Other thing you'll notice is the bingo card. Yes, I have integrated bingo into the live reactions from here on out. Getting bingo, by the way, does nothing, in case you were wondering. It's just purely for fun. So, I'm going into this movie basically completely blind. I know it's supposed to be the worst thing ever, but I wasn't gonna make a video on it till like October, and then I saw Penguin Zero Moist Critical, whatever his name is now, I saw him make a video on it, and I knew that at that point, ooh, this is the new thing to hate. So here I am, trying to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm not very excited, for this. I know it's gonna suck. I missed a Pipkin Pippa stream to be here, and I'd rather be watching that, but, there's like one of three ways this ends. It's either bad, but it's the funny kind of bad, and I can laugh at it for the next hour and a half. 2, it's bad and boring, which is the worst thing a bad movie can be, is boring, because it has no redeeming qualities at that point. Last option is just the unthinkable, and this movie is so unbelievably dull and awful that I can't even get through the full running time, which I hope that doesn't happen, and we'll see how well the bingo plays out. Enough yapping, let's begin. The movie opens with a logo for a studio who I am certain are proud to have their name attached to this film. Odd choice of starting music, okay. After that, we're immediately introduced to our protagonist, Ice Cube. His character does have a name, but I'm not gonna use it, because no one cares. Mr. Cube is a domestic terror analyst for the Department of Homeland Security, and we start the movie on his desktop. Welcome to this movie's main gimmick. As previously mentioned, this is a screen life movie, meaning we're gonna be stuck on this man's gaming PC staring at his face for the next hour and a half. Washington, D.C., I was just there. It was hot. I was quite literally just there. I was in the White House. It was cool. As a Fed, it's Ice Cube's job to spy on literally everyone, remotely accessing security cameras and personal phones without anyone even knowing. Wow, what a major invasion of privacy. It's a good thing this is just a movie, and that would never happen in real life, because the government would never stoop so low as to spy on its citizens. Anyway, immediately this movie has a very amateur feel to it. The opening feels less like the beginning of a major motion picture and more like the intro to a bad cable TV drama. The obvious use of stock footage really doesn't do it any favors. Moving on, Ice Cube receives a call from his co-worker, Sandra, a NASA scientist played by Eva Longoria. We've seen her before on this show, regrettably. She's been tracking a string of strange, massive storms that have been appearing all over the globe. NASA has no idea where they're coming from, and all their satellite systems have mysteriously gone down. Well, I'm sure that's nothing to worry about. Let's just ignore it. We've got more important things going on. Oh hey, I didn't know the Fear-Visor was in this movie.
I will be releasing classified documents proving the surveillance industrial complex is using their top secret Goliath program to collect our personal data to use against us.
Wow, the Mort lore goes even deeper than I thought. Actually, this is Disruptor, a mysterious hacker that Ice Cube and the FBI have been tracking for some time. I don't know why, because honestly, this edgelord has glowy written all over him. I can smell a Fed from a mile away. This is not what online extremists look or talk like, and as one myself, I consider this cultural appropriation and highly offensive. Am I watching the right movie? Anyway, Glowy Boy here is ranting about some kind of secret government surveillance system called Goliath that's being used to secretly collect people's personal information from right under their noses. Dude, I think you might be a bit behind on your conspiracy theories. Have you heard of targeted advertising? This is basically just accepted fact at this point. So Ice Cube begins tracking the Glowy's home address, and while doing that, he phones his daughter, Faith, played by this lady, in what seems to be her first ever movie role. Ice Cube is very overly protective of his daughter, so much so that he uses government surveillance equipment to spy on her fridge and critique her eating habits. I feel like that's highly illegal and unethical on several levels, but perks of being a Fed, I guess. We're also introduced to Ice Cube's son, Dave, played by Henry Hunter Hall. Would you believe me if I told you he's been in basically nothing? By the way, on an unrelated note, get ready to hear Amazon be mentioned quite a few times throughout the duration of this movie.
Spying on what's in people's Amazon cart?
To round out our cast of secondary characters, let's meet Faith's boyfriend, Mark, played by Roderick from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid films. Mark is the generic, lame, kind of dumb, suck-up boyfriend archetype, desperate to impress Ice Cube, and he also just so happens to be an Amazon delivery driver. From him, we learn more of Ice Cube's strained relationship with his kids, such as how Faith didn't tell him about her baby shower. Hey, that's an oddly specific thing to say in a text message, and apparently Faith is a biomedical researcher. I wonder if this information is being introduced to us in order to hint at future events in the storyline. If only there was a word for that. The mother is dead. It's either divorced or dead. Either way, it still counts. Dead! Dead! Dead parent! I already marked it off the bingo card, but dead parent! I got it! Freaking God! Anyway, now that we've got the always necessary dead mom out of the way, Ice Cube has managed to find Glowy's home address and obtains a search warrant for the FBI. Oh hey, Coulson, what are you doing here? This is Donald Briggs, director of the DHS, who, if you couldn't tell from my reference, is played by Clark Gregg. I guess of all things you could be typecast as, government agent is one of the better ones. So now we're just watching Ice Cube play Ready or Not, as feds with the most generic M4 configuration on the planet raid this apartment complex. You can tell the director did not do their research on Fed raids because because these guys just walk past a barking dog and don't shoot it. I know these are technically FBI agents and that's more of an ATF thing, but no Fed worth their salt would leave a perfectly good dog unshot. Even Ice Cube looks utterly baffled by this lack of dog slaughter. These technical inaccuracies are making this movie literally unwatchable. Questionable raid technique aside, the apartment turns out to be empty. Luckily for all of us though, the world appears to be ending outside. Ice Cube watches as meteors begin to rain down all over the world, and I can't tell what's worse about this scene. The CGI or Ice Cube's utterly emotionless reaction to watching people literally freaking die in front of him. This perfectly leads me into my next point and the proverbial elephant in the room. Ice Cube can't act. He reads every line like it's the first time seeing the script, any script for that matter. This is the most monotone line delivery I've seen in a long time. Bonzi Buddy has more emotion in its voice than this guy. My man is watching the world end around him as he desperately tries to find his pregnant daughter, and he sounds mildly annoyed at best. He is like this for the entire movie, so I really hope you're enjoying it. Now, you're probably sitting at home saying something along the lines of, Reagan, there seems to be a very little War of the Worlds in this War of the Worlds adaptation. When do we get to something resembling the plot? Well, dear viewer, I'm pleased to report that now, after 20 minutes of movie, we've found something vaguely close to a scene from War of the Worlds. Ice Cube joins a Zoom call with his fellow feds, where Eva is on site with one of the meteors that fell to Earth.
That's just a stupid boulder.
It's not just a boulder. It's a rock.
Hey, you know what the original War of the Worlds was really missing? Cheap jump scares.
It's freezing cold.
I, for one, am so glad modern writers are bringing these stories into the 21st century. So of course, some kind of alien begins emerging from the rock and they lose contact with Eva. We then get in touch with red shirt FBI lady on the ground in DC, where we finally see something that almost looks like it belongs in War of the Worlds. The iconic tripod walkers. Good God, they look awful.
Look how they mess with my boy.
How do you mess this up so badly? What kind of cheap mobile game ad CGI is this? It looks like the love child of a Prius and a jellyfish that had its skull beaten in at birth. Who okayed this? So the tripod starts attacking stuff, and it looks like the opening cinematic to a Command & Conquer game. A bad one. Ice Cube watches his red shirt FBI friend get vaporized with a death ray. How does he react to this?
Acting.
Now we get a montage of Ice Cube collecting data on the tripod attacks, and now it's time to talk about the screen life gimmick. I hate it. Now, it's not that this kind of movie can't work. I mean, look at Unfriended. That thing literally printed money. And I'm not even opposed to telling this story in this way. If done right, this could have been an actually interesting take on the War of the Worlds, kind of like Orson Welles in his infamous radio play adaptation. Key words though, if done right. What made that adaptation special was that it actually took advantage of the conventions of its medium, that being radio, in a way that really hadn't been done before, and the story was adapted with that medium in mind. With this movie, there's no reason to tell this story in this way because the writers refuse to take full advantage of the medium they've chosen to work in. This montage is pretty much the only scene that kind of works. Through the eyes of Ice Cube, we get to see the carnage of the alien invasion firsthand. We spend every day just watching horrible crap go down through our screens. Even if we wanted to stop it, you can't. That's a scary idea that could have been explored really well for this movie. But I suppose I might be asking too much from writers whose only work consisted of script doctoring the Smurfs. Anyway, that's enough pretentious video essay talk. Let's get back to clowning. This had major release on Amazon? This is maddening. This is maddening. This is the movie definition of insanity. We're only 23 minutes in! No! I have an hour left! No! Speaking of clowns, Ice Cube FaceTimes Faith to discover her wandering around like an idiot out in the open. She is then almost immediately hit by a falling helicopter. She's not dead though. That might require Ice Cube showing emotion, and I think if that happens, hell will freeze over. She does have a chunk of rebar sticking out of her leg though, so she's probably wishing she was dead. I like how Ice Cube tries to call 911 to help her. Like there isn't just a straight up alien invasion happening right now. Granted, he also doesn't seem to understand that you can break a locked glass door, so this probably tracks. Okay, so I need to share this dialogue with all of you real quick. For context, Ice Cube is currently stuck inside his office building due to a security lockdown. Please listen to what this woman has to say.
The irony, right, Dad? You never want to leave that place. And now I won't let you leave.
Excuse me, what?
Woman, there is a piece of solid metal in your leg. You are actively bleeding to death in the street. Aliens are invading the planet. Now is not the time to discuss poetic irony. Who just brings up irrelevant crap like that in the middle of actively dying? I guess I really shouldn't be surprised by this, though. I mean, she is a woman. Hey folks, I'm here with a representative from the legal team. I've been advised not to complete this joke at this time, and to state for the record that I respect women, their feelings, and their contributions to society. Yas Queen. So, yeah, moving on. So Ice Cube is in a bit of a pickle here, as he needs to find a way to get Faith to safety. His solution to this is to use his computer to hijack a nearby Tesla and telling her to climb in it. Bit odd that his first instinct was to steal the nearest expensive car he could find, but I mean, he is black. Hey, back here with the legal team. They've informed me that I may have once again gone a bit too far with that last joke, and they've given me a statement to read. Racism is no laughing matter, and I am deeply sorry for perpetuating harmful stereotypes in my attempt at... Do I have to read this whole thing? I have grown as a person and will continue to educate myself in order to... Anyway, having successfully committed virtual Grand Theft Auto, Ice Cube remotely drives Faith to a hospital. I find it very odd that hospitals are still functioning. The city itself seems nearly untouched by the aliens, and all the fleeing people seem to still be following traffic law. No one in this movie is treating the alien invasion like an alien invasion. This is an apocalyptic level event, and yet every character is acting like this is just another Tuesday. That obviously extends to our main characters, if you couldn't tell, with Ice Cube deciding that now is the best time to bring up how he wasn't invited to Faith's baby shower. To which Faith goes on a tirade about how Ice Cube thinks he has power when he doesn't or something. It's mostly just info dumping what Ice Cube's character is supposed to be, with all the quiet and subtlety of a shot in the face from the AK-50.
You know what your problem is? You think you have more power than you really do. You think you have the power to have saved Mom from a disease. You think you have the power to make me happy. You think you have the power to keep the world safe. You gotta wake up.
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
So Ice Cube leaves Faith in the reliable hands of self-driving car technology and calls Mark so we can get some more Amazon product placement. They don't technically say the word Amazon here, but I'm counting it anyway. Hey, Eva Longoria is still in the movie. Unfortunately, and she's here to reveal to Ice Cube that the aliens purposely knocked out NASA's satellites before landing, meaning that this invasion was in fact planned. Yeah, that's how invasions work, you bint! Also, the US military has finally begun mobilizing, and we're for some reason still using UCP camouflage in the year of our Lord 2025. The obvious stock footage is getting even more obvious. I know this is a minor detail, but UCP has been retired since 2019. It was being phased out in 2014. They didn't even bother to find footage from this decade. My camotism aside, Ice Cube joins a Zoom call with Coulson and the generic unnamed US president to brief them on the alien threat. I really want to stress just how bad of a casting choice Ice Cube was for this character. He cannot play the tech guy role he was assigned, especially in scenes like this. He's supposed to be explaining where the aliens have been attacking and why. He's given a lot of jargon-heavy lines that should be delivered with some degree of urgency. For exposition dialogue like this, you'd want someone who could speak clearly and in great detail about technical matters at a relatively quick pace. Think something like Dan Aykroyd, the king of exposition dumps. Now, based on what I've shown you of Ice Cube's performance so far, do you think he's capable of doing this? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. Got your answer? No, of course he's not! He speaks in the exact same slow, monotonous, emotionless tone that he's been speaking in for the entire godforsaken movie. Now this makes me pretty angry, but not as much as what comes next. I am going to show you this clip from the movie, unedited with my live reaction. I want you to keep this in mind. According to my research, this movie had a budget of $65 million. And while I couldn't find much info on individual salaries, I imagine a great deal of that money went to the writers. On top of that, this is a Universal film. They distributed it and attached their names to it. Furthermore, 2 people wrote this script. A director and a production team had to read it. The studio had to okay it, and then God knows how many executives had to give the green light to release it. With all that in mind, please watch this scene.
This plan is humanity's last chance. I see no other option to initiate this war of the worlds.
Oh, they said it! They said it! Title drop! You didn't just do that! I played that back. You did not.
I see no other option to initiate this war of the worlds.
Holy Christ! You're kidding me! No! No, you don't get to do that, movie! I'm gonna lose it! Yes, that is an actual line of dialogue that people were paid to write, speak, film, and edit into a real motion picture that was then distributed and promoted by a major media corporation. Let this sink in. People were given money for this. People said yes to this. People let this happen and we didn't stop it. Also, fun fact, the unnamed president here is played by Jim Meskimen, who voiced George W. Bush in many of Jib Jab's videos. So yeah, you just heard George Bush deliver the worst line in cinema history. Well, there it is. I finally reached the breaking point. See you on the news, everybody. Okay, I might be overreacting just a little bit. Let's see what happens next.
The United States president is calling the global military response a war of the worlds.
Nope, we're doing this. I really wish I could tell you things somehow get better, but it is quite literally only downhill from here. As established, the nations of Earth join forces against the alien invaders in a War of the Worlds. Something I want to bring up real quick, the concept of time is foreign to this movie. Pacing is its own separate issue. I'm referring to how events play out in the movie itself. It seems like the war has just started and yet there's already news coverage and tripods being taken out left and right. I have no idea if what we're watching takes place over the course of a day, a week, or even just a few hours. The topic of why the aliens are invading is briefly brought up, but actual War of the Worlds plot has to be pushed aside in favor of Ice Cube's inane family plot. I really do not care for Ice Cube and his family. They're the most bland, archetypal disaster movie family in existence. Domestic conflict really isn't as interesting as a full-scale alien invasion of the Earth. I am kind of lying though, because the alien invasion here sucks. But at least we're focusing on it for a little bit now, as Ice Cube discovers that all the alien tripods are making their way towards data centers. We're on this revelation for less than a second before the stupid family rears its ugly head again, as Dave shows up to rant about that Goliath surveillance program from all the way back in the opening. Gee, I wonder if this will be relevant later. I digress though. Eva discovers a crashed tripod outside a data center and decides to investigate, discovering freaky alien tentacle things emptying data off the servers. With access to government servers, the aliens are now somehow able to launch a massive cyber attack on the global military, shutting down basically everything as the anti-alien counterattack begins crumbling. This is shown to us with the stock footage of a Russian tank scrapyard? Okay, I guess. Funnily enough, right as the human military begins breaking down, so does the movie as a whole, beginning with a return to the Faith bleeding to death subplot. Luckily though, Mark is here with his plan to stop the bleeding. Packaging tape! Packaging tape! Packaging tape! To patch up a wound of this size? And it somehow works! He used like one piece! Based on how much blood she's already lost, she should be dead! Even if it does stop the bleeding and the wound somehow isn't already infected from the freaking rebar, the tape is not a long-term solution! If it was duct tape, maybe, but freaking packaging tape?
Alright, it worked. Bleeding stopped.
No, it wouldn't. No, shut up. Everyone just shut up. Back with Eva Longoria, she's picked up bugs for some reason. I have no idea what these things are. I think they're part of the aliens somehow, but the movie never really says, so I've got no clue. Here's what's important. These things, and by extension the rest of the aliens, are, quote, drawn to data. They eat data, and that makes them more intelligent. Everything around the world is kind of going to pot because of the alien data drain. Power grids are down, the economy is non-existent, and cities are still lawless wastelands of looting and violence. So at least one thing hasn't changed. But hey, the whole world falling apart isn't as important as Ice Cube losing his dead wife's Facebook account. Let's focus on that for a bit. Okay, so I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now, but do you remember all the way back during the first act, that weird glowy guy, Disruptor, that Ice Cube and the feds were tracking? Well, he's relevant to the plot now, I guess, because Ice Cube has had the heretofore unheard of idea to try and remove this idiot's voice modulation. And you'll never guess who was behind the mysterious persona that is Disrupt. It's Dave. There's quite literally no other character it could possibly be. It's Dave.
You know, for someone who spends their life watching, you sure do miss a lot.
Alright, I get it! Now, I know things have been pretty schizophrenic thus far. Don't worry though, because things are about to go completely off the rails. Dave sends Ice Cube a zip file full of information he's gathered on the Goliath program, and it turns out the government has known about the aliens this whole time, including how they feed on data. The Goliath thing is some kind of vague big, undefined super surveillance network that Coulson has been behind this whole time. And he's the reason the aliens invaded, because he set up Goliath even though the feds knew it would attract the alien. Now, I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to anyway. This is stupid! This entire plot thread is just, it's meaningless noise. It doesn't say anything, it doesn't add to the story, it's just there. You know why the Martians are an intimidating threat in the original story? By the way, they never say where these aliens come from, I guess to be more inclusive to people from Mars. Humanity doesn't really cause the invasion or do something to trigger it. The Martians were simply more powerful and wanted to conquer the Earth for their own, and humanity couldn't really do anything. Human hands aren't even what ultimately stopped the invasion. It's borderline cosmic horror. Humankind gets invaded by an unstoppable force and survives off a fluke. This powerlessness is where the, for lack of a better word, horror of the story comes from. War of the Worlds presents a lot of heavy real-life themes and says a lot about what was going on in society at the time. This movie has reduced everything in the original story down to the fault of a single cartoonishly evil bad man that the good guys now have to stop. Also, Amazon mentioned again.
If you risked all of our lives just to spy on people's Amazon cart.
Just in case you weren't already fuming with rage. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, evil Coulson takes away Ice Cube's Fed privileges, so he decides to trust his hacker son and team up with him. Also, War Games reference. Screw you, movie. So here's the plan to take out the aliens. Ice Cube and Dave are gonna poison the aliens' food supply by uploading a computer virus to the data centers. Do you get it? It's like in War of the Worlds, where the aliens get wiped out by germs on Earth, but instead of like a real virus, it's a computer virus. Do you get it? Do you get the subtlety? It's just like the story. God, I hate this movie so much. This is the worst thing I've ever watched. Hey, here's a bunch of nonsense characters that add nothing. These are random hacker dudes here to help write the computer virus. You want to know how little of a threat the alien invasion is in this movie? Ice Cube takes the time to first clear all these idiots of federal charges, as if society hasn't collapsed due to alien invasion, and then puts together his own little exposed video to post on YouTube, exposing evil Coulson and Goliath. I'm sorry. What? You had time to edit this together, complete with transitions, stupid red arrows, and this godless image? Aliens! Did we forget about them? This is an alien movie! When did we end up in low-budget Mr. Robot? How do I live in a timeline where I have to say that Mars Attacks is a better alien invasion movie than War of the Worlds? I can't take much more of this. I need a stress reliever. Hey, the aliens have tracked the location of all those idiot hacker guys. Want to watch them all die horribly?
Get out of there!
Dave does manage to live, though, so we don't get a main character death to go with the red shirts. But at least the aliens burnt down Ice Cube's house, so we've got that going for us. This is immediately followed up with evil Longoria reappearing in the movie, though, so there's that. Turns out the aliens are actually cyborgs, part robot and part biological, so just a computer virus can't stop them. If only we had someone whose only established character trait was expertise in biological science. God frickin' dang it! I called 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 it! Foreshadowing! They called it! It was gonna be her through this movie! So Dave and Faith get to work making a virus to stop the aliens. Meanwhile, Ice Cube sneaks into a government Zoom call. Turns out the government is going to nuke DC so that the aliens can't get to the Goliath servers hidden underneath the DHS building. So now Ice Cube is trapped and on a time limit. Welcome to the epic climax. To get the virus working, Ice Cube has to manually upload it into the Goliath server. Unfortunately though, they need to put the virus on a thumb drive and Ice Cube doesn't have one. Gee, this is quite a predicament. I wonder how the characters are gonna overcome this particularly challenging development. The Amazon, are you kidding me? Yeah, that's right, Amazon saves the day. Ice Cube needs a thumb drive, so he orders one on Amazon and then has Mark, the Amazon employee, fly it to him on an Amazon drone. I couldn't make this crap up if I tried. This is beyond parody. This is egregious. Was it worth it, movie? I'd say you sold your soul, but that would imply you had one to sell.
We've got to have money.
On the bright side, we've got about 10 minutes until nuclear annihilation. I'm gonna try to get through this epic climax as quickly as possible. I think that's the best course of action for all of us. The aliens begin attacking DC as Ice Cube descends the DHS building, with our Lord and Savior Amazon on the way. Except the drone is almost immediately knocked out of the sky and lands upside down in front of a homeless person. The team hacks his phone and tries to convince him to flip over the drone, but he refuses. That is until Mark offers him a $1,000 Amazon gift card. You know, Ted Kaczynski was really onto something when he said that the Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. I just think he didn't know what kind of disaster it really was. My growing desire to become a neo-Luddite terrorist aside, after some more mind-numbing alien shenanigans, Ice Cube manages to find the Goliath servers, but unfortunately, the tentacles have arrived. They are really trying to drag this epic climax out for as long as humanly possible. Ice Cube is right where he's supposed to be. He has the drone, but we just have to spend an extra minute watching Faith rewind security footage to find a passcode. And then we have to watch Ice Cube crawl through the tentacle hallway as slowly as humanly possible before finally plugging the stupid thumb drive in. Why are you doing this to me? We're at the end of the movie. This is torture. Just let me go.
I need your help. You need to kill me.
So the virus is uploaded, all the aliens begin to die off, and DC doesn't get nuked. Yippee. And with Ice Cube seemingly dead, we cut to an undisclosed amount of time later. And apparently the aliens didn't even really do all that much, because the world is basically right back to the pre-invasion status quo. It's like nothing ever happened. No rebuilding, no societal upheaval. Again, even Mars Attacks did this right. How do you screw up so badly that I have to compliment Mars Attacks? Oh, and Ice Cube didn't even die. Great. Wonderful. And the movie ends with one last Amazon name drop, just in case we haven't beaten you over the head with it enough.
There's more important things to do than to worry about what's in people's Amazon cart.
So the entire world got invaded, millions of casualties, billions of infrastructure damage. Nothing changed! I am shocked that you could make something that bad in this year. That was so much worse than I ever could have imagined. Not even War of the Worlds. Why'd you even call it that? Holy crap, what did I just watch? Well, that's the film, folks. Do you hear that? That's the sound of H.G. Wells rolling in his grave. I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Screw this movie and screw everyone involved in making it. At no point was an ounce of care or passion put into the making of this cinematic tragedy. The acting, atrocious. I have never seen a cast so utterly devoted to delivering every single line with no emotion or urgency. Ice Cube in particular should be blacklisted from ever appearing in a starring role ever again. The directing, awful. At no point does this movie ever take advantage of its screen life format in any unique or innovative way. What could have been an interesting way to retell an iconic story is reduced to a gimmick. The writing. There is no appropriate way to put into words how awful the writing of this movie is. So I'm just gonna call it what it is. This is slop. Pure, unfiltered slop. Rendered out into digital form and then projected onto screen. I do not know who this movie was made for. I'm not sure I want to know. But if there is anyone out there who actually, unironically enjoyed this boring, uninspired, product placement riddled piece of soulless corporate garbage, I want you to know that I actively think less of you as a person. So is this the worst movie ever made? Yeah, it is. At least until someone manages to make something worse, which they probably will. That's the fun part of hitting rock bottom. Just like you can always go higher, you can always sink deeper. Just a matter of how long it takes you. Final rating, 0 Ice Cubes out of 10.
Well, you got on the bandwagon. How do you feel?
Utterly awful and lacking the will to live. I think I may have lost my soul somewhere along the line.
Yeah, that's what usually happens when you start chasing trends.
Don't worry, souls are like kidneys. You only need one to live.
I don't think that's how it works.
Anyway, what were we working on before this?
Well, it's actually a game video. A licensed game, in fact.
Oh, we haven't done one of those in forever. A nice game is just what I need right now. What's the game?
Well,
Compton crazy mother named Ice Cube, from the gang called Fellers with Attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a sold off. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you